Hello YouTube, welcome to another in my budget Karambit series. This is the Colt Desert Karambit, 4-inch blade length. The overall length of this item is 8 3/4 inches. You see the black Kydex sheath that it comes with. The price tag on this Karambit was only $20. Alright, here is a close-up of the handle. You see the ring there. The edges of that ring are rounded a little bit for comfort. Alright, so that's good. The handle itself, the handle scales are aluminum, and it's kind of a bronzed color. And then that insert there is a tan, desert tan G10. Alright, so you have aluminum and G10. Very nice, very solid. And you see those scales are attached by 5 different Allen head screws. Here's a look at the blade of the Karambit. You see, it's a partial hollow grind. The steel is 440A, alright, so not the most expensive steel. And note the integral guards on the Karambit, nice feature. It is an extremely pointed blade, which is what you want. Alright, and this is full tang construction. And there is a close-up of the handle. Finger grooves there. There's the thumb ramp there. Close-up of the ring, you see it is rounded. Full tang, one solid piece of metal going all the way through. Nice, very solid construction. The handle is thin, which is good because it lends itself to manipulating the Karambit. Also, they give you a thumb ramp here for greater control. You can kind of steer it with that, so that's good as well. This is the sheath that it comes with. It's molded Kydex with eyelets there. All right, and that is the belt clip. Fairly rigid belt clip. All right, and how does it fit in? With a click. And yeah, it holds it in silently and securely. All right, how does it deploy? You can push off like that. All right, so that's the sheath. Now here is the size comparison. Desert Karambit in the middle, Cold Steel Tiger to the right. You see Steel Tiger is about 1 inch longer in blade length. All right, to the left, the Fox Knives Kuku Hanuman Karambit, which is, you can see it's shorter than the Desert Karambit. Now, I pretty much have some good news and bad news about this $20 item. The good news, very sturdy construction, very good ergonomics, extremely pointed tip, all good features. The bad news is the curvature of the handle and the curvature of the blade. It's not an extreme enough curve, at least for a traditional Karambit. Let me show you what I mean. All right, if we put these over one another, all right, you see how much farther back, right, the tip of the Desert Karambit is compared to where the tip of the Steel Tiger ends up. And if you wanted that tip further forward in your grip, you're going to end up having to bend your wrist, right? You're having to bend your wrist. If I have it aligned there, you see how much further back the ring is. And it's the same story when you compare it to this Karambit. Now this is a very good Karambit, about $160, designed by Richard Deraspina, who is one of the few American custom knife makers that specializes in Karambits and Chris knives. And he knows what he's doing, okay? This is, the curvature on this is pretty close to perfect in my mind. And when you compare the curve on this to the curve on this, again, it's the same story. Wow. Wow. Yeah, if you line the rings up, look how much farther back, all right, that tip is. Okay, so definitely almost a different type of knife. And again, if you were to try to get that tip forward, Look how far back the ring is. That's how far your wrist would have to bend to get that tip where a traditional Karambit tip would be. So that lack of curvature does limit the techniques you can use. With a normal Karambit, the tip is so far forward, right, that it lends itself to different techniques. All right, but those same techniques, when the tip is not forward, you end up having to make sure you're not scraping your knuckles against the target before the blade comes into play, all right? And in order to get this tip as forward as it should, you'd have to bend your wrist way too much, all right? So that's this. And again, look how forward that tip is in comparison. All right, so it's limiting reverse grip techniques, and it also, like with a traditional Karambit, you can punch with this Karambit in either grip, right? You can punch just straight in, a straight in punch like that, and you can also uppercut, a straight in uppercut. With this, not so much, no, because you can't punch like that. You would have to twist your wrist, which is not strong at all. And with the uppercut, you can hook, but you can't really punch straight in very well. All right, so the lack of curvature on this Karambit compared to more traditionally curved designs is limiting some techniques. I would almost just call this a fixed blade hawkbill, because it's so different. Might not seem too different, but when you actually get into the techniques and physically, athletically doing them in the real world, you'll see it's very different. This Desert Karambit, it actually lends itself more to a non-traditional grip. It lends itself more to just a tip up grip. All right, I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't be effective. I mean, this V slashes like this would be very effective actually, but it's not a traditional Karambit. Okay, so like I said, very sturdy design, very pointed. The sheath works, the price is right, all good things. But if you're looking for a Karambit with a traditional curve that can do those traditional techniques, you're going to be disappointed. However, if you want to just use the tip up grip with this Karambit, well then, yeah, I mean, it would be extremely effective in that grip. I mean, with this Karambit, I wouldn't use traditional Karambit techniques. I would just use what they call the 12 angles of attack in Filipino martial arts, which is just very basic, like strikes at a 45, across, horizontal, vertical. I would just use basic angles. All right, so there you go. Hopefully I've given you all the information to decide. It is a solid item, but the curvature is whacked. All right, stay tuned for more videos. I'm out.